welcome back. It's Triple Seventh Chariot, and what we're going to be doing today, taking a look at a little bit of the drama that is happened, some of the things that have gone on in my Sims 4 Forever world. Uh, so I've got this little matrix set up for a little bit of help trying to visualize the different relationships between all of the households. I've played through at least one full sim year, so I've gone through all four seasons, and each season was set to 28 days. So that's 112 days in game. I feel like that's quite an accomplishment to get through an entire sim year, because I think by the time I have gotten through at least one of those, I've gotten bored with The Sims and I've dropped it. So this has honestly made me really want to continue playing, because there are so many cliffhangers, and then there's other storylines that have not been finished up yet. And then the second generation of these four households are starting to become teenagers, which means that there's even more drama that is about to unfold before my eyes. I will say that each of these households is a legacy, and I do plan on playing with those also, because I thought that it would make sense to also play each household of like the sister of the heir, or the brother of the heir, or the cousin. What I've got going on right now is the Montague and the Capulet households are the two households that I started off with, rotating in between, and then I rotated in the Spencer Kim Lewis household. That's a mouthful. I did shorten it in my own notes down to just the Lewis household. Let's just start off with this sim, the one that's in circled in red. This is Pierre Capulet. He is the founder of the Capulet household. He got married to a townie sim. That's Zoe Patel that he got married to. They do have children, but none of them are teens at this moment. So they're like, going forward from here, if there are children in the household, or toddlers or infants or babies, they're not going to be added onto this matrix. I do get pictures whenever they age up. So for this type of like rotational legacy that I've got going, it's basically just the Capulets and the Montagues that are going to be causing a lot of the drama that goes into the other Sims lives whenever I rotate other families in, because I like the idea of drama within these households and between these two households has like other consequences out amongst other Sims. So these two households are going to be the center point for the other consequences that happen amongst other households, and sometimes it could be like secondary or tertiary consequences, like ripple effects across the Sim world. This is the most up-to-date family tree that I've got going for the Capulets. There's some things happening in this household that I was honestly surprised by. This is what we've got currently for Pierre's children, which is Gabrielle Capulet, Lionel Capulet, and Evelyn Capulet. Evelyn was just recently made. Even though the Capulets have been going through some marital issues because they had twins. So they didn't have time to go out on dates or be romantic with each other, and, well, that kind of sucks. His whole goal is to, one, beat the Montagues, I guess financially, or accomplishments, but his whole thing is he needs to complete the gardening collection. That's like every plant. I'm gonna try and at least get to the main collection, and Zoe is a style influencer. She didn't really fall out of love with Pierre. She still loves him. It's just they went a spot where they don't really connect romantically anymore. And now there's a new baby. So moving on, now we have Lyle Montague. He is the head of the Montague household. He married Jesse Montague. Now, Jesse came with a son already, like a teen son, and then they had Anthony Montague. Now, Anthony is already a teen. And now we have the Spencer Kim Lewis household. Of course, you know, there's Alice Spencer Kim and her husband, Eric Lewis, and they had Olivia Kim Lewis. I did make them have more children. So there's Lupin Lewis and Jasper Lewis. Let's at least catch up with what happened to the Lewis household. One of the Sims got sick with an ailment, and it was the gnome ailment. Gnomes running around the house upgraded everything, which included upgrading both toilets to a fire toilet, and Vivian caught fire in the fire toilet. I think Olivia caught fire first, and then a random townie sim caught fire in here, and then Vivian caught fire in the same day. And then she didn't get extinguished. I mean, I kind of just let that happen. I didn't tell anybody to extinguish her. But then Dennis decided to die at the same time Vivian was on fire. So I think because of the fact that they're pre-made Sims and you start the game with them as elders, they age at the same rate, which means that they both are supposed to die on the same day at the same exact time. But because Vivian was on fire, I think she like skipped over her old age death animation, unlike Mr. Dennis over here. So Vivian didn't get a grave or an urn. There's just nothing for her. However, Dennis did, and we held a funeral for him. I just pretended that we were holding a funeral for both. And in the graveyard that I made, I just plopped down a random headstone and just pretended that it was Vivian's. Everybody knows the Goths. We've got Bella Goth, Mortimer Goth, Cassandra Goth, and there is Alexander Goth also. For Cassandra Goth, I decided that it would be cool to kind of lean into the whole Lady Raven Dancer Goth thing, where she's read a story by Bella one day about her ancestry and learned that there were spellcasters in her ancestry. So here is Cassandra after going on her little quest to become a spellcaster. And Bella decided that she wanted to become a party animal because that was the aspiration that she started off with. And I used that as kind of like a storytelling moment where Mortimer and Bella kind of fell out of their own relationship because they did have kids. You know, kids kind of make life a little hectic, and it's hard to find time for one yourself or Bella. You can only imagine that she didn't really get to live out her young adult years because she had kids. So here she is going a little wild. Of course, that meant lots of dirty plates because nobody cleans their stuff up. Here's Alexander sadly cleaning up dirty dishes because I thought it was a good story moment to see it. She's also a super spy and she's focused on work, so she's almost always at work. And Mortimer is going to be a writer, so he's buried in writing books. So poor Alexander, look at his little face. So sad about being left home alone and doesn't really have anybody. He doesn't even really have any friends. Part of Cassandra's little journey, I decided to update her outfits. There's this ensemble. I love this look on her. I decided at the end of the last week that I played them, Cassandra would get over her fears and try to like remake herself. You know, who is she? What's really going on up in here? It's not really a rebellious stage. Being friends with Olivia has kind of made her rebellious. She did sneak out because Olivia asked her to, so Olivia is probably not a good influence on her. And after Harvest Fest, Bella and Mortimer, because they had this whole thing where they talked to each other and they went to couples counseling and then they went on a date. And this is Bella and Mortimer out on that date to rekindle their romance. And, well, things happened. And Bella is now expecting. This is what she found out next morning. And so she told Mortimer, and he was like super excited about it. I used this moment to like take everybody out to family day in Ravenwood because it's family. She's pregnant. I had them go out and break the news to their two children that they're expecting another addition to the family, and they both seem really excited. So things are just going pretty okay in the Goth household. And then this happened. And guess who was at our house when this happened? None other than Olivia Kim Lewis. And of course, it was Mortimer. Mortimer is the one who got abducted by aliens. And I don't know what she has to do with it, but she has something to do with it. He did get returned. She has something to do with this alien abduction. And I don't know how Mortimer is going to take it because it happened right as I was about to stop and switch different households. So I had to wait for him to come back. I don't know if he's pregnant or not. So moving on, we come to the enemies. So while playing Lyle, Pierre came over as the welcome wagon, and he brought fruitcake. Lyle argued with him over the fruitcake. Now they hate each other. And, well, at that point in time, Jessie was Lyle's fiancée, so obviously Jessie took Lyle's side in this fruitcake argument. So she also hates Pierre Capulet. And we're moving on to this. There's Cassandra and Olivia. they are friends, which I'm pretty sure will end up changing. So this is the like little romance things that are going on because they're not really dating. They are childhood friends because Anthony even invited her and a bunch of other children over for a little summer party. They both aged up into teens, and so I pretended that Olivia asked Anthony to meet her down near the pool during school. So here's the woohoo closet with them coming out of there. It's so sweet, and they're just young and in love, and it's so cute. And then hammer drops where Alice explains to Olivia that she is not going to be marrying Anthony Montague, and she's so upset over it, and she doesn't understand why, and it's because Alice wants to give her the best, and she doesn't believe that Anthony Montague is the best. She believes that the Capulets are the best. And even though Lionel is still a child, he will grow up. And Alice and Eric are planning on arranging a marriage between Olivia and Lionel Capulet. Excuse me, I have a terrible stutter. So that's the reason why Olivia has like a strained relationship with her parents right now. She doesn't really want this arranged marriage. I'll take this moment to basically explain that Olivia doesn't actually like Cassandra. I know that they're like friends in their relationship because The Sims doesn't have an option for friendships to be the same as like how the romance stuff works now with Lovestruck is like they can both have like different levels of satisfaction. I was thinking that like I could pretend that there's also like different types of friendship where Cassandra thinks that they are best friends, and Olivia is like, no, I don't actually like you. And she's kind of desperate to figure out exactly what it could be that could cause Cassandra to dislike her enough to leave her alone. This was honestly one of the biggest plot twists during this sim year. Other than Mortimer getting abducted by aliens and somehow, coincidentally, Olivia Lewis being in the same place, and also coincidentally, Olivia Lewis doesn't actually like Cassandra. She's just pretending to like Cassandra. We're moving on to this whole situation here. What happened is Zoe and Pierre, obviously, they had kids. Kids were aging up, everything was great, all that, but they kind of stopped being romantic with each other. And that is understandable. It's just like Pierre wasn't really focusing on Zoe. So Zoe was incredibly unsatisfied. And so I was like, you know what? You know what, Zoe? If you were so unsatisfied in this relationship, why don't you just pick like the next person that shows up, like that knocks on the front door? Because she's friends with like a bunch of people, so random Sims will show up, especially if they're like in her contact list or if they're friends or whatever. And she was friends with Lyle Montague for quite some time. They were friends before they even got married, like before she even got married to Pierre. Pierre didn't know that they were friends beforehand. Zoe has been keeping it like secret because Zoe has the cheerful trait, and I thought that could play into Zoe is Lyle's friend or stayed Lyle's friend because one, she has the loyal trait, which makes this affair even worse. She wouldn't just give up her friendship. She would try to find a way to bring her husband and her friend together so she could have like a harmonious thing. So keeping Lyle as her friend kind of bit me in the butt because he's the one who showed up to the door at like 11 p.m. at night. So I had to come up with an entire plot of why was he doing this, because why would he knock on the door of his enemy's house at 11 p.m. at night? And so I decided that he would have just this sob story of, oh, I'm tired of all this fighting. I just want to be friends. I don't know why it's like this, because Zoe wasn't there for the fruitcake argument. So she's thinking that just give it time or try to be the mediator. It'll be okay. And she like talked to Lyle just outside on the front porch. She didn't bring him inside the house because Pierre was asleep. And I've made the rule that if they're awake and they end up knocking on the door, they just fight immediately. And that's whenever he flirted with her, and she flirted back. And I was like, Zoe, you have the loyal trait. How did that happen? But then after that, he tried to flirt again, and then it stopped. But then I was like, you know what, Zoe? No, we already said that this was going to happen. So the first person is the one you were going to have an affair with. So she's going to have an affair with Lyle. And plus, she flirted back that first time. Like, she accepted it the first time anyway. So I was like, no, Zoe, you can't backtrack now. You've done it. And then so she felt guilty for like a really long time. Here is Zoe's tree that she's got going. She's got them both on here, and as you can see, there is extra addition. This is whenever he flirted and she flirted back. That first night, whenever they were talking outside, she went out with him again and kissed him. And this is like where it gets bad. This is just how it devolves. And this guy is honestly not to be trusted, because what he's actually doing is he is trying to manipulate Zoe into hurting Pierre as much as possible, which is basically taking Pierre's wife from him. She went out with him again, but this time she went to the romance festival with him because that's where he and Pierre had gone, and she's feeling bad about her own marriage, and like maybe she's missing that connection with her husband, so she's replacing her husband with Lyle because she can't get her husband's attention, and Lyle is there, and they've been friends for quite some time, so it's kind of easy for her to slip into this. So here she is, she's complaining to Lyle about her marital problems, and he is listening so intently. This is where baby making had started. They've been on several dates where they have done many a woohoo, especially in this closet. Most popular sim, which is Olivia Lewis, she did end up with 14 friends by the end of the sim year. The biggest plot twist is the Zoe and Lyle affair. They had a baby together. Mortimer getting abducted by aliens was a huge plot twist. Like, that is such a cliffhanger, and like that happened at the very end of the sim year. Like, we're going into this new year with this cliffhanger of Mortimer having just been abducted by aliens. And then we have In Memory of, which is, Vivian Lewis. Here she is with, I think this is Lupin bottle feeding him. This is her on fire, and Olivia saved her from the first fire. And then this is her reading to Jasper. This is her when she died. And then there's Dennis. He fought a burglar. This is him helping with the babies. He's pointing sadly at Vivian being on fire. And then this is him when he died. And this is him and the Grim Reaper. What a lovely picture. Okay. And then the most skills gained, surprisingly, it was Anthony Montague with 47 skill levels. Now, I thought that was something to just like keep track of, like what sim came out on top in what like category. And then of course the best character development was Goth for finding herself. Most financially accomplished is Alice Spencer Kemp for starting her own business, making thousands of small ends every time she opens her store, like every single time. It's amazing. And then of course the worst character development was Jesse Montague for not accomplishing anything but leasing a couple of songs. I didn't realize that I had barely played with Jessie, but she really has become just this background character.
Alright, so that's just about gonna wrap it up. So drop a like, leave a subscribe, comment down below what y'all think about all of this drama that's going down. Whenever it comes to all of these different storylines, if y'all do leave a comment on where you think these stories are going to end up going, or maybe you have some ideas of where these stories are going to end up going. Um, Seriously, leave a like so that way I know if y'all really like this video or not. I also got one subscriber. Want to celebrate that. Woohoo! Hey there! Welcome to my channel, which is brand new. Yes, very new. So there will be a lot coming soon with updates on the different families as we start a new sim year with them. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to probably be a little wild. That'll be all. See y'all later.